Krishna
Hare
Hare Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna, Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram Hare Hare Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Ram, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare Ram,
Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna Krishna
Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, वाचा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। Hare Krishna, this is the Shama Supriya Devi Dasi from Houston, welcoming all the devotees to our Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. And I thank all the devotees for joining this chanting session and giving your very, very precious association this morning. It was very nice to chant with all the devotees. And before starting our Lilamrta summary sessions, can I know who are all joining this morning?
Hare Krishna, Shyam Supriya Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances, Srila Prabhupada. This is Preeti Vilasini, Devi Dasi.
Hare Krishna, Priti Vilasini Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the sessions and giving your wonderful association this morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna, Neetu Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the sessions and giving your very beautiful association this morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga and all assembled devotees. Yashamati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashomati Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the sessions and giving your very sweet association this morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam to all the assembled devotees. This is Sri Nama Radha Devi Dasi from Santiago, Chile.
Hare Krishna, Sri Nama Radha Devi Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the sessions and giving your very precious association this morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, this is Balavrinda.
Hare Krishna, Balavrinda. Thank you so much for joining the sessions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, all glories to Sri Prabhupada and Guruji, and my humble obeisances to everybody here. I am Asha from Canada.
Hare Krishna, Asha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the sessions and giving your very wonderful associations all the way from Canada. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Sham Supriya Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from Texas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the sessions and giving your very wonderful association this morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Always to Srila Prabhupada. Today from Virginia. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Devi. Thank you so much, beta, for joining the sessions and giving your wonderful association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shyama Supriya Mataji, Dandot Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru Maharaj ki Jai. This is Shyama Gauri Devi Dasi from Charlotte.
Hare Krishna, Shyama Gauri Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the sessions and giving your very sweet association this morning. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Anybody would like to introduce themselves? Hare Krishna. I welcome all the devotees to our Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call of our Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrta sessions. So before starting that, I would like to read the quote for the day from Srila Prabhupada. So, as God is good, we are also good. But due to our material associations, we have become bad. So if we revive our old position,
Hi,
Krishna
friends.
consciousness, then automatically we shall become all good. Hare Krishna. So, Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Today we are very fortunate to have with us Her Grace Sri Nama Radha Mataji to give the summary sessions of Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrta. And today Mataji is going to give the summary of chapter 33. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, once again for joining these sessions and giving your very valuable association this morning. I would like to hand over the call to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji, for this opportunity. Always a pleasure and a blessing to speak about Srila Prabhupada. So thank you very much for this opportunity. Okay, let me share the screen. Let's invoke auspiciousness before we begin by seeing some pictures of Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Agyana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Itti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so today we are reading from the Prabhupada Lilamrta. The Prabhupada Lilamrta, of course, has His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, at the center and describes his most remarkable and fascinating biography. Srila Prabhupada is that personality who has actually been predicted in the Shastras. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat, we have this quote where Lord Chaitanya declares, "In every town and village of the world, the chanting of my name will be heard." There is also this quote from the Chaitanya Mangala, where Lord Chaitanya clearly mentions that he will be sending his leading preacher abroad. He says, "Taking the sharp sword of the congregational chanting of the holy name, I will root out and destroy the demoniac mentality in the hearts of the conditioned souls. If some sinful people escape and giving up religious principles, go to far-off countries, then my commander-in-chief, Senapati Bhakta, will appear to chase them and distribute Krishna consciousness." And the more recent past, we have this writing by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, where he says, "Lord Chaitanya did not invent himself to liberate only a few men in India. Rather, his main objective was to emancipate all living entities of all countries throughout the entire universe and preach the eternal religion. There is no doubt that this unquestionable order will come to pass. Very soon, the unparalleled path of Harinam Sankirtan will be propagated all over the world. Oh, for that day when the fortunate English, French, Russian, German, and American people will take up banners, mridangas, and kartalas and raise kirtan through their streets and towns. When will that day come? That day will witness the holy transcendental ecstasy of the Vaishnava Dharma to be the only Dharma, and all the sects and religion will flow like rivers into the ocean of Vaishnava Dharma. When will that day come?" So we see how these predictions clearly refer to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada not only revolutionized Gaudiya Vaishnavism, but he actually revolutionized the entire human civilization. Srila Prabhupada went amongst the most unlikely candidates who were brought up in a society where it was very normal to be indulged in meat eating, illicit sex, gambling, and intoxication. He went into a society where there was no standard of Vedic culture, where people did not even know how to receive a saintly person. So Srila Prabhupada trained them in such a way that now they are accepted everywhere as first-class Vaishnavas and preachers. So how was it possible to write about the significance of such a Mahabhagavat in a few pages? Even millions of books are not enough to describe his glories. But still, something is better than nothing. So we are very fortunate that we have this Lilamrta, this biography of Srila Prabhupada, which was written by His Holiness Satsvarupa Das Goswami. He was commissioned after the disappearance of Srila Prabhupada to write and compile the biography of Srila Prabhupada. And any chapter we read in this book is very, very authoritative, because a lot of careful research was put into this biography. Today we will be seeing a summary of chapter 33, titled "A Lot of Ground to be Covered." So Srila Prabhupada is in India with some of his disciples, and now they are in the city of Indore, December 3rd, 1970. They have been invited to a festival, a Gita Jayanti Mahotsava, and the organizers wanted Prabhupada and his disciples to participate in the convention and public meetings over there. So let's see what happens there. The author writes, on the first night of the festival, Prabhupada was scheduled as the last speaker. his disciples, who sat with him on stage, grew bored and restless from the ordeal of so many hours of Hindi speeches. And knowing that these speakers were presenting Mayavad misconceptions, made the evening especially painful. Srila Prabhupada sat sternly and waited, his hand in his bead bag, his head held high, his lips murmuring the Hare Krishna mantra. So one of the things to notice here is how Prabhupada showed us how to persevere in a particular preaching venue and keep ourselves fixed in Krishna consciousness. Then the author continues, Prabhupada concluded his talk and asked his disciples to begin Kirtan. It was an ecstatic, spontaneous event, and Prabhupada began dancing on stage along with his disciples. The crowd came to life and began clapping rhythmically. Hamsaduta jumped down from the stage while playing Mridanga and began inducing members of the audience to join in chanting and dancing. Several other devotees also jumped down, and soon hundreds of people had risen to their feet, swaying, clapping, and singing. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This was a real Gita Jayanti Mahotsav. The holy name of Krishna was being sung, and everyone was happily united in the Kirtan. Greatly pleased by the performance of Prabhupada and his disciples, the Pandal directors visited Prabhupada the next day in his bungalow. Prabhupada complained at having to wait so long before he could speak. His disciples shouldn't be required to sit through hours of speeches in a language they could not understand. When Prabhupada intimated that the speeches seriously deviated from the teachings of the Gita, the director of the Gita Bhavan replied, "We do not favor any particular way. Followers of the Shankara school and others also come to our institution. We do not subscribe wholly that Sri Krishna is the sole God or anything of that sort. There is a power behind him." This remark drew fire from Srila Prabhupada. What kind of glorification of the Gita was this if the speakers did not accept Krishna as he is explained in the Gita? The Gita declares Krishna to be the highest truth. Mata Parataram Nanyat. So this shows how Prabhupada's Pranam mantra is exactly his preaching emphasis. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi. Prabhupada preached against impersonalism and voidism. The next night, however, despite promises by the Pandal directors, Srila Prabhupada again had to wait until the end of the program before he could speak and hold Kirtan. This night, the crowd was larger than before, and they were clearly waiting for Srila Prabhupada and the foreign sadhus. When Prabhupada's turn came at last, he spoke and then asked his disciples to begin Kirtan. During the Kirtan, one of the members of the Gita Bhavan gestured to the devotees to jump down into the crowd as they had done on the preceding night. But what had been a spontaneous event the night before could not be artificially staged simply as a crowd pleaser. The man, however, was insistent. He came forward to the edge of the stage, reaching up and began grabbing at the feet of the dancing devotees, trying to pull them into the audience. The devotees became annoyed. Grabbing indiscriminately, the man pulled at one of the women's saris. Srila Prabhupada was also dancing, but when he saw this, he rushed to the edge of the stage, swinging his kartalas towards the man's face and shouting, "Stop this!" The man retreated, and Prabhupada and his disciples continued their kirtan. Although little noticed by the crowd, Prabhupada's burst of lion-like ferocity had amazed his disciples. So we see how Prabhupada was also very expert in dealing with aggressors and how Prabhupada would always protect his disciples. On the third night of the festival, Prabhupada and his disciples came eagerly to the stage, having been promised by the festival directors that they would be first on the program. But when another speaker stood and began his discourse, Prabhupada, followed by his disciples, stood and walked off the stage. The festival director was quite disturbed by this, since most of the audience had come especially for the Kirtan. He pleaded with Prabhupada to return, but Prabhupada refused. He did agree, however, to send his disciples every night. They would speak and hold Kirtan. So this shows us how Prabhupada would not allow himself to be used, which is exactly what the festival organizers were attempting to do. Every time they would tell Prabhupada that, yes, you would speak before, but Prabhupada was always made to speak at the end. So he and his disciples had to sit through hearing other Mayavad philosophy. In the field of psychology, actually personality or behavior is broadly divided into three categories: passive, aggressive, and assertive. People who are passive are usually timid and they never stand up for themselves. They very easily get manipulated by others. So their policy is, you step on me. And it is said that for them, the situation is always a lose-win situation because they're always allowing people to step on them. Therefore, for them, it's a lose-win situation. On the other side, the aggressive people, they are very explosive, very dominating. They don't care for the others. They always manipulate other people. So for them, they are in a win-lose situation. Always they are on the winning side and the other person has to be dominated upon. So win-lose situation for them. But a person who's assertive is neither timid nor explosive. He's firm. He's firm, but he is very welcoming. He cares for the others as well as for himself. He does not manipulate anyone, neither does he allow anybody to manipulate them. And so therefore, for them, it's always a win-win situation. So we see how Srila Prabhupada is assertive. He did not allow people to manipulate him, neither did he manipulate people. So that's why Srila Prabhupada was able to make so many devotees all over the world. Srila Prabhupada's disciples found the morning Bhagavatam classes in Indore especially relishable. Not only was the setting intimate, 10 devotees sitting with Prabhupada in his room, but the Bhagavatam story was intriguing, one they had never before heard. Ajamila had great affection for his youngest son, Narayan. And as Ajamila lay on his deathbed and saw the agents of death approaching, he cried out for his son, Narayan. Prabhupada continued his story. He was just on the point of death, so naturally he had affection for his son. So he was calling, Narayan, 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 please come here, please come here. This is natural. I know my father, when he was dying, I was not at home. So he was living for one day to see me. He was always inquiring whether Abhay has come back, like that. So father's paternal affection is like that. And similarly, Ajamila was calling, Narayan, Narayan. So just see, this is the first time that Prabhupada's disciples are hearing the story of Ajamila from his own lotus lips, and in this most intimate surrounding. And also we see how Srila Prabhupada is describing the affection that his father, Sri Gaur Mohan De, had for him. Prabhupada's father was a pure devotee of Krishna. He raised him in Krishna consciousness from the very beginning of his life. He instructed him on how to play the mridanga. He gave him the Radha Krishna Vigraha to worship. He gave him the Jagannath Ratha so that he can observe the festival as his childhood play. And Srila Prabhupada himself said that he had imbibed from his father the ideas which later on was solidified by his eternal father, his spiritual master. Okay, Prabhupada began making life members in Indore by sending Hamsaduta out alone. Hamsaduta was inexperienced and even skeptical that anyone would pay the 1111 rupees. Hamsaduta. I made 3 life members on first day, and when I came back and told Prabhupada, he was in ecstasy. By sending disciples and by sometimes going out himself, Srila Prabhupada soon had a dozen ISKCON life members in Indore. Prabhupada, Hamsaduta, and Giriraj visited the king of Indore and invited him to become a life member, but the king declined. The devotees were disappointed, and in the car, on the way back to Gita Bhavan, Hamsaduta asked Prabhupada, "Did I say the right thing about the books?" "My books are like gold," Prabhupada replied. "It doesn't matter what you say about them. One who knows the value, he will purchase." So this is a very important quote for every follower of Srila Prabhupada, for every devotee in ISKCON. Srila Prabhupada's books are like gold, as Prabhupada himself has said. There is no difference to what Prabhupada spoke and what Prabhupada wrote. reading Prabhupada's books is as good as hearing Prabhupada speak. Every word Prabhupada wrote is his presence printed on paper. And by reading Prabhupada's words, we are in his presence through his separated energy. And to be in contact with Prabhupada means to be in contact with Krishna. Because visitors often asked Prabhupada and his disciples what they thought of various popular spiritual teachers, Prabhupada gave his disciples hints on answering such questions. If the teacher was not a bona fide follower of Vedic scripture, Prabhupada said, the devotee should reply, Swami who? By thus indicating that he had not heard of the particular teacher, he would minimize the teacher's importance. Then the devotee should ask, what is the Swami's philosophy? Then when the person explained, the devotee could defeat the particular philosophy without attacking the person. So Prabhupada is teaching us how we should preach. He's teaching us how preaching is an art. It's not a mechanical thing. One has to be clever. One has to be intelligent. Srila Prabhupada, a devotee, asked, may we publish pictures of you without tilak? Yes, he replied. My Guru Maharaj has been recorded without tilak. You have seen that picture where he is looking up from his books at his working table? Yes, the devotee replied. I have seen that picture. I have seen you look in that very same way with the very same expression as in the picture of your Guru Maharaj. You have only seen the glitter, Prabhupada corrected. He is the gold. I am only iron. Iron can never be gold. But you have seen the glitter of real gold. So Prabhupada is teaching us how a disciple must always view his spiritual master in the mood of humility and subservience. It is a fact, however, that for a sincere person, devotional service is very easy, but for one who is not determined and sincere, this process is very difficult. Srila Prabhupada told his disciples a story about when he had lived in Vrindavan. A Bengali widow walked to the Yamuna river to take her bath every morning. And every morning without fail, she would return with a pot of water for the Radha Damodar Pujaris to use in bathing the deities. Prabhupada said he would sometimes open the gate for the woman since he also rose very early and she would enter and wake the Pujari. Although the Vrindavan nights are cold in the winter, Prabhupada said, the woman never once failed to come with the water. For this activity, she will return back to Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada actually writes in the 4th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam that this process of Bhakti Yoga is simultaneously very difficult and very easy to perform. He explains how although Narada Muni had come to initiate Dhruva, still he was testing Dhruva to see how determined he was to execute devotional service. So Srila Prabhupada says that for a sincere person, devotional service is very easy. But for one who is not determined and not sincere, this process is very difficult. And we see how this pastime is an example of that. One day, Prabhupada was sitting outside near his bungalow, chanting on his beads, when an unknown man approached, calling out the names of Krishna. Suddenly, the man fell to the ground, rolling and crying, appearing to be in great ecstasy. Prabhupada remained seated and observed the exhibition, but made no response. The man continued his crying and rolling and chanting. Prabhupada now ignored him completely. After several minutes, the man got up and walked away, obviously disappointed. So we see how Srila Prabhupada is also very expert in telling whether someone is real or is a pretender. And now Srila Prabhupada continues with the pastime of Ajamila. Anyone who utters the name of Krishna is immediately freed from all sinful activities. That is the power of Krishna's name. The difficulty is that after being freed, we again commit mistakes. Krishna's name has got the power. As soon as you utter the name, you immediately become freed from all contamination. But if one thinks, I am chanting Hare Krishna, so even if I commit sinful activities, it will be counteracted by my chanting. That is the greatest offense. Just like sometimes in Christian churches, they go on Sundays and confess, and they are supposed to be excused from sinful reaction. But again, after coming back from the church, they commit the same sin with the expectation that next week when I go to the church, I shall confess and it will be counteracted. This kind of understanding is prohibited. If you accept spiritual life and at the same time go on committing sinful activities, then you will never be able to progress. So Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing on chanting without offenses. Prabhupada describes that this process of repeatedly sinning and atoning, he says that it is useless, and he compares it to the bathing of an elephant. Srila Prabhupada says that just as how an elephant takes a bath, but then again it throws dust all over his body, it is useless. That bath is useless. In the same way, if one is going to repeatedly be sinning and then atoning, that is also useless. Okay, so now Srila Prabhupada and his disciples have traveled to the city of Surat. This is December 17th, 1970. Prabhupada's host in Surat had advertised the daily parade routes in the local newspapers, and now day after day, the devotees were holding a kirtan procession through various sections of the city. While more than 20 of Prabhupada's disciples led the daily procession, thousands of Indians chanted, cheered, and clamored to see, and women threw flower petals from the rooftops. Often the procession would have to stop as families came forward to garland the devotees. Sometimes the devotees would receive so many garlands that their blissful faces would be scarcely visible. Never before had the devotees met with such a reception. The arrival of Srila Prabhupada and his Sankirtan party had been like a torch, setting the city spiritually ablaze. The entire population of Surat seemed to turn out every morning as tens of thousands flocked at 7 a.m. to the designated neighborhood. Men, women, laborers, merchants, professionals, the young, the old, and all the children, everyone seemed to be taking part. 20 devotees from the West had just arrived in Surat, as had an American photographer, John Gracer, on assignment for Asia magazine. John went out every day to shoot the Kirtan processions, and as he did, he felt himself becoming caught up in something much greater than a mere photo assignment. Now, this American photographer was actually the only non-devotee in that party of Sankirtan devotees, and he would join them every day. And this particular American photographer then went on to take initiation from Srila Prabhupada and became the famous Yadubara Dasa. Now, His Grace Yadubara Dasa and Her Grace, his wife, Sri Vishakha Devi Dasi, both of them together, they did a lot of photography for Srila Prabhupada. And then they made this famous movie on Srila Prabhupada, which was watched all over the world and also won several awards. So let's hear from him in this video. He is here at
Hare Krishna Mataji. Is this a YouTube video?
Yes, it's on YouTube.
Yeah, Vinita Mataji, then should we pause the recording? Preeti Vilasini Mataji, Vinita Mataji.
Yeah, we should stop YouTube live.
We should stop YouTube live, right?
I think recording is okay, I think.
Okay. So how I am not the host, but can any host or co-host pause the YouTube live?
Only host can do, Mataji. I cannot do that. Yes, Mataji.
Okay.
What should I do? Or should I not play the video?
Can we wait?
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that at the end.
Okay, we'll do that at the end.
Yeah. Sorry for the interruption, Mataji.
No problem. Okay, so let's continue. The devotees had no special paraphernalia other than vridangas and kartalas, no flags, no marching band, no ratha, just an enthusiastic kirtan party, and there was no official pandal, no sadhu samaj, no Vedanta sammelan, no Gita Jayanti Mahotsav, just an entire city of Krishna bhaktas waiting eagerly for the American Hare Krishna chanters. To be worshipped for chanting Hare Krishna was just the opposite of what the devotees had experienced in the West. In Hamburg, Chicago, New York, London, Los Angeles, the devotees had been insulted, threatened with arrest, assaulted, and ignored. Of course, sometimes they had been tolerated and even appreciated, but never honored. So this is the first time that Prabhupada's disciples are being honored like this. And in that YouTube video, we see how the devotees are describing that they had to like take off 20 garlands away of them, and the next thing they knew that there were 20 more garlands on them. So they were honored greatly, and they received a lot of fame. Everything about Prabhupada's program was completely satisfying to everyone. The old people liked it because there was the saintly figure of Srila Prabhupada with his young foreign disciples, and the intellectuals liked it because Srila Prabhupada was giving such sound philosophy. And the children liked it because they could run and dance and join in the kirtan. Madri Dasi. At one program, they mobbed us, so we couldn't even get out of the cars. They were so eager to see Srila Prabhupada. Bruce. One program was so noisy that no one stopped talking. So Prabhupada just started chanting the Brahma Samhita. That was the whole program. Mr. N.D. Patel. The people in my village were much impressed by the presence of Prabhupada. They used to say that he has done miracles by chanting. He is a miracle saint, no doubt, people were saying. So many Western people have become devotees just by chanting the name of the Lord. The people were very much impressed by Prabhupada's practical way of bhakti. In his lecture, Srila Prabhupada created such a good impression, not only Vaishnavas, but so many Christians, Parsis, even some Mohammedan friends started believing in Lord Krishna as the universal Godhead. So we see how Prabhupada is appealing to all kinds of people, age no bar, religion no bar. Everybody is accepting Srila Prabhupada. Of course, Srila Prabhupada, a pure devotee, and purity is the force. So we see practical application of that. Hundreds of Indians throng, eager to see Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, his disciples, and a clamoring crowd of Surat devotees squeezed tightly into Prabhupada's room. The guests, those who got in, inquired about ISKCON and its activities, while those outside pushed to get inside. The crowd around the house grew so great that traffic couldn't pass. While Prabhupada continued to answer questions inside, the crowd outside grew larger and more restless. By their good fortune, they had realized Prabhupada's greatness, and they wanted to be with him. As their desire became stronger, their eagerness more intense, Prabhupada got up from his seat and walked out to the balcony. The crowd roared, Hare Krishna, their arms upraised. When Prabhupada returned inside, the crowd remained unsatisfied, and he asked some of his disciples to try and pacify them. Several devotees went out to the people, answering their questions and telling them Prabhupada would come out to see them again. So during this time, all the shops were closed. The whole town was closed down in order to greet Prabhupada. And one of the more prominent people at that time commented that even if Indira Gandhi, the then prime minister, would have come to town, even she would have not received such a reception as they had organized for Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, he translates chapter 4, verse 146. And he says, even though one may not like it, reputation as ordained by providence comes to him. Indeed, one's transcendental reputation is known throughout the entire world. So although a devotee does not hanker for fame, still fame automatically follows a devotee. And we see how this is so true in this case, where both Srila Prabhupada and his disciples were so much honored. So fame automatically was following them. And one of Prabhupada's disciples also comments that just a few months back, they were hippies on the streets, and now they are being honored because of Srila Prabhupada. Okay, now Srila Prabhupada and his disciples, they had traveled to Allahabad. This is Jan 1971. January of 1971, however, fell halfway through the 12-year cycle from one Kumbh Mela to the next. And the Mela was known as Ardha Kumbh Mela. Millions would attend, and Srila Prabhupada decided to take advantage of the opportunity and attend the Mela with his disciples to preach. When Prabhupada arrived at the ISKCON camp the next day, the devotees were ecstatic. Eagerly, they began to tell him of the bizarre sights of the Mela. One of them mentioned a guru riding on an elephant and added, "Actually, you should ride on the elephant." "No," Prabhupada replied, "I would put Radha and Krishna there." So we see how Srila Prabhupada always kept himself in the background and he kept Radha Krishna in the forefront. To the common people, followers of ISKCON are called as Hare Krishna followers. How many people know us as followers of Prabhupada? No, we are more known as the Hare Krishna followers. That's because Prabhupada always kept Krishna in the forefront. So actually it's true. One of the devotees inquired that just by bathing here, they are liberated. Yes, Prabhupada said, it's true. They come here for liberation. But we have not come for liberation. We have come to preach. Being engaged in Krishna's unalloyed devotional service, we are already liberated. We are not interested in liberation. We have come to preach devotional service. So the essence of Prabhupada's ISKCON is explained here in this passage. We are not interested in liberation. We only want to preach. And also Krishna says in the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita that one who preaches the transcendental message, then such a servant is most dear to him. So continuing in Allahabad, Srila Prabhupada also started to notice that some of us were coming late to Mangal Aarti and that some of us were not coming at all. Prabhupada became very upset about this because he knew how important Mangal Aarti was for us. So one morning, although he was a little frail in health, he got up at 4 o'clock, came out in his gamcha, sat down under the pump and took that ice cold bath early in the morning just to encourage us to get up, bathe and come to Mangal Aarti. That had a very profound effect on all of us and we felt so ashamed. We just couldn't sleep late anymore. So we see Srila Prabhupada, our Acharya, how he is teaching by example. At this point now, Srila Prabhupada is 75 years old and he's also unwell. So still he gets up early morning and he's taking a bath in that ice cold water. Once His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj was addressing the brahmacharis in Bombay and he asked them, do you understand Srila Prabhupada's sacrifice for all of us? And the brahmacharis said, yes, Maharaj, we can understand. So then Maharaj said that actually you will never understand until you have a 70-year-old body. So what it is to be in a 70-year-old body, that only a person in a 70-year-old body can understand. Okay, on Prabhupada's last day in Allahabad, Mr. Gaur Kishore visited him in his tent, inviting him to Banaras. As chairman of the 45th annual festival commemorating Lord Chaitanya's visit to Banaras, Mr. Gaur Kishore wanted Prabhupada to attend the festival as the honored guest. When Prabhupada said he felt ill and that perhaps some of his disciples could go in his stead, Mr. Gaur Kishore persisted until Prabhupada finally agreed. But first Prabhupada wanted to visit Gorakhpur. So now Prabhupada is visiting Gorakhpur. This is February 3rd, 1971. Prabhupada had been invited by his only disciple in Gorakhpur, Dr. R.P. Rao, now Ramananda, a research chemist who had met Prabhupada in San Francisco, taken initiation in 1967. Prabhupada already had plans for a Radha Krishna temple on the Gorakhpur University campus, as well as accredited courses and degrees in Krishna consciousness, BA, MA, and PhD. He envisioned graduates going out to teach Krishna consciousness in schools, colleges, and temples all over the world. He initiated about 12 disciples. He asked them to chant 16 rounds daily and to make their city Krishna conscious. In his absence, they should maintain Ramananda's house as an active ISKCON center and try to establish courses in Krishna consciousness at the university. So after the short visit in Gorakhpur, Prabhupada and his disciples traveled to Banaras. This is Feb 6, 1971. The climax of the week-long parade of Lord Chaitanya's visit to Banaras would be a parade. So actually, a parade is being organized in the city of Banaras in order to observe Lord Chaitanya's visit to that place. So they had invited Srila Prabhupada so that he could be the star guest in that parade. On the day of the procession, Prabhupada rode in a silver chariot, the kind customarily used in extravagant wedding processions. The chariot was pulled by a pair of white horses wearing silver crowns and decorative blankets. The leading float in the parade bore a 6-foot statue of Lord Chaitanya in yellow neem wood. Behind the devotees, Srila Prabhupada rode in his chariot. On either side of the chariot walked a devotee fanning Prabhupada with a chamara whisk, while Prabhupada sat with his right hand in his bead bag, his left hand on his cane. He was dressed in silk with pearl buttons on his kurta. A white patch of sandalwood paste covered his forehead. He didn't wave or smile or turn to see the crowds, but sat calmly chanting Hare Krishna on his beads. The festival committee said 300,000 attended, double of what they would have had without Prabhupada and his foreign disciples. The procession was over, however, and as the star attraction, Prabhupada made his appearance and drawn a large crowd. A student at the University of Banaras who had met Prabhupada at Allahabad Mela stopped by to visit. The boy's father had given him a biography of Lord Chaitanya as a gift for Prabhupada, and when the boy showed Prabhupada a picture of his father, Prabhupada said, "Yes, your father is a devotee. Why don't you also take initiation?" The boy was hesitant. Prabhupada said, "You have got the seed of devotional service from your father. You must now cultivate." "But how can I shave my head?" the boy inquired. "I am a university student." "No, it is a custom. You should shave once, and then you can keep short hair." "But how can I wear tilak? They will laugh at me." Prabhupada said, the boy should not fear criticism. "What about Guru Dakshina?" the boy asked. "Guru Dakshina is just a formality," Prabhupada said. "It is whatever you give." The boy returned home and told his father. The next day was an auspicious day. His father said, the appearance of Lord Nityananda, a good day to receive spiritual initiation. So the next day on Nityananda Trayodashi, Srila Prabhupada initiated the boy, giving him the name Niranjana Das. So this is Prabhupada's disciple, His Grace Niranjana Das, and this is how he received initiation. Now Prabhupada again travels back to Gorakhpur. And we read about Hanuman Prasad Podar. Hanuman Prasad Podar was a very prominent personality of his time. He was a freedom fighter, a social worker, and also one of the trustees of Gita Press. He dedicated his life to make available books like the Ramayana, Mahabharata, the Puranas, the Upanishads. He got them translated in Hindi, and he made it available to the common people at very affordable prices. He also used to publish a monthly magazine called Kalyan in Hindi. And it was in this magazine, Kalyan, that Hanuman Prasad Podar wanted to publish a comprehensive article on Srila Prabhupada's activities. So Srila Prabhupada actually wrote a 7-page long letter to him and gave him, in his own words, a short history of his traveling to the Western world. It's a very nice letter. So Hanuman Prasad Podar, eminent head of the Gita Press publishing company, offered one of his properties, a 2-story house known as Krishna Niketan. When Prabhupada received permission to use the Krishna Niketan, he acted quickly. It was not proper, he said, that the deities of Radha and Krishna he had brought from Calcutta had been packed away in a trunk after the Ardha Kumbha Mela. They had already been worshipped, so their worship should not be stopped. The deities have to be installed tomorrow, he said. Prabhupada called for all his disciples, and soon 20 American disciples were scurrying about, preparing for the next day's festival. The next morning, the deities were placed on the altar, and the devotees resumed their worship, offering them prasadam and arati 6 times a day. The devotees were living in an ISKCON temple atmosphere for the first time since they had arrived in India, and their lives became regulated and secure. Mr. Suryakant Fogla. Hanuman Prasad Podar was my grandfather. He was very much ill at the time Prabhupada came here to meet him in his bedroom upstairs. There are certain things which cannot be explained, but they were talking in the language of their eyes. My grandfather expressed some gratitude, some affection, some regard by his eyes, and Prabhupada's reply was also in the same way. The appreciation from both sides could easily be seen and appreciated by the persons who were present. A lot of Prabhupada's disciples were there, and everyone was almost in tears when those two saints, great people, met and talked to each other. They were talking about the spiritual world and they were praising each other for their deeds. My grandfather also was saying that what Prabhupada has done, it is unforgettable for anyone of the world. Because to take our Indian culture to Western countries, the credit entirely goes to our beloved Prabhupada. And he was the only person who took Radha Krishna and the holy name outside in such a way that nobody else could and will be able to do so in the future. So soon after this meeting of Srila Prabhupada and Hanuman Prasad Podar in about a week's time passed away. One morning, Srila Prabhupada sang a new song, Jai Radha Madhav. I will teach you the song, he said. Reciting the first line, he had the devotees repeat it again and again. One line at a time, he went through the song. They should know it, he told them by the next morning. Only a few devotees managed to memorize the song. So the next morning, Prabhupada went through it again, line by line. On the third morning, after introducing Jai Radha Madhav, Prabhupada again sang it with their devotees responding. Then he began to explain it further. Radha Madhav, he said, have their eternal loving pastimes in the groves of Vrindavan. He stopped speaking. He closed his eyes, flooded with tears, and he began gently rocking his head. His body trembled. Several minutes passed, and everyone in the room remained completely silent. Finally, he returned to external consciousness and said, now just chant Hare Krishna. After this, the Radha Krishna deities of Gorakhpur came to be known as Sri Sri Radha Madhav. So this is a more rare and confidential Leela of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada called Kaushalya forward. Every morning you are washing the floor so nicely, he said. But this morning you are washing the floor like a crow takes a bath. Prabhupada shook his hand as if flicking water about. You do not know how to wash the floor. I am going to show you. Prabhupada came down from his Vyasasan and walked to the other end of the room, followed by all the devotees. Where is your bucket? Kaushalya brought over her bucket. Prabhupada asked for a rag. She gave him hers. He then crouched down and started scrubbing. This is how you wash the floor, he said, with lots of water. And you do it a section at a time. It should be done in 2 stages, first with a wet rag and then with a wrung rag. The devotees stood in amazement, watching. Several times, Prabhupada repeated the procedure, washing a section of the floor and then drying it. Careful not to touch the clean area with his feet. See, he said, that is expert. So see how Srila Prabhupada is again leading by example. Prabhupada had spent 2 weeks in Gorakhpur and now he was ready to go to Bombay. Leaving 2 disciples behind to attend to deity worship and continue preaching in Gorakhpur, he left. So now Prabhupada has traveled to Bombay. As Prabhupada unfolded his plans for the Pandal festival, the devotees doubted. How could they ever raise the money? So now a huge Pandal festival, a 11-day festival is being organized by devotees in Bombay. A Bombay Pandal, Prabhupada said, would be the perfect way to link America's ingenuity with India's spirituality. He gave the example of a blind man and a lame man. Although separately they are helpless, by cooperating, the blind man carrying the lame man on his shoulders and the lame man giving directions, the two can work successfully. America, because of materialism and ignorance of God, was blind. And India, because of foreign invasions, poverty, and misinterpretations of Vedic knowledge, was lame. America had technological advancement and wealth, and India had spiritual knowledge. The job of the Krishna consciousness movement was to combine the 2 strengths and uplift the world. And one practical application would be the Bombay Pandal festival. Giriraj. Srila Prabhupada took Bombay by storm. The whole city was alive with excitement about the Hare Krishna festival. Prabhupada was preaching forcefully to the people of Bombay, and every evening the Pandal was packed with at least 20,000 people. Srila Prabhupada would preach so strongly, emphasizing following religious principles. At that time, I was thinking that if Prabhupada had wanted to flatter the audience or compromise his philosophy, he could have attracted millions of followers. But because he was preaching so boldly and forcefully without compromise, many of the audience did not like it because it was a challenge to their sense gratification and to their sentiment. So this illustrates the great responsibility it brings to be a true follower of Prabhupada and what it means to be a bona fide preacher. One evening, Prabhupada conducted a Vedic marriage ceremony and an initiation before thousands of people. The marriage arranged was between Begavan, who was Swedish, and Padmavati Dasi, who was Australian. They completely enchanted the whole audience. She with her ornate red sari and Indian jewelry, including a nose ring, and he with his nice white dhoti and kurta and clean-shaven head. 6 brahmacharis were initiated at that time also. During the ceremony, as Srila Prabhupada made the boy and girl husband and wife, he mentioned that she was from Australia and he was from Sweden. Then Srila Prabhupada said, "This is the real United Nations." And everyone burst into applause. It was the most glamorous, wonderful program. So Srila Prabhupada himself, he says elsewhere that his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he created more brahmacharis and sannyasis for preaching work, but that he is creating more grihasthas because in Europe and America, boys and girls intermingle. So it is very difficult to keep one brahmachari. So there is no need, Prabhupada explains, to have to artificially create brahmacharis. It is sanctioned. And he says that his Guru Maharaj wanted to establish Devi Varnashram. And it doesn't matter whether one is a sannyasi or one is a grihastha or one is a brahmachari. The main principle is Bhagavad Bhajan. So how to adjust according to time, place, and circumstances without compromising neither on the spirit nor the ritual is what Srila Prabhupada was so expert in, amongst so many other things, of course. So Srila Prabhupada explains that Niyamagraha means simply observing the rules. And Niyamagraha also means that one should not neglect also the rules. So one should not neglect the rules and regulation. At the same time, one should not stick up to the rules and regulations. When we understand the spirit behind the ritual, then that is what is spiritual. The program had been the same program he had introduced everywhere: chanting, dancing, taking prasadam, worshipping the deity, hearing about Krishna. It was Lord Chaitanya's program, adapted slightly according to the particular circumstances, but Lord Chaitanya's program nonetheless. This Sankirtan was the only possible remedy for the disease of modern society. Yet people were reluctant to take the remedy. Prabhupada therefore had labeled the bottle. The medicine was unchanged, but he had labeled it attractively: a gala evening of entertainment, music, and refreshments featuring the youth of America and Europe, transformed into Vaishnavas. The final night of the festival, the devotees carried the deities of Radha and Krishna in a palanquin to the seaside. Prabhupada spoke and held kirtan before a crowd of 25,000. The next day, the Indian Express reported, fitting finale to the Hare Krishna festival. It was a grand fitting finale to the 11-day Hare Krishna festival, which attracted thousands of devotees at Cross Maidan in South Bombay. Prabhupada will deliver his final public message to the citizens before leaving in a few weeks on a preaching tour of the major cities of Russia. So this description is there in the next chapter when Prabhupada leaves India and he again travels abroad for another preaching tour. So with this, we come to the end of the summary of chapter 33. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Beautiful class, Mataji. Thank you so much for such a beautiful class. Mataji, regarding YouTube video after question and answers, can we play that, Mataji? That time I will stop the live.
Okay, Mataji, I can do that.
Very beautiful, Mataji. Especially I like the point that you are telling how Srila Prabhupada has went through. Only we can understand if you reach to that age. I mean, sometimes I feel even this age, sometimes body is hurting, leg is paining. Sometimes I feel I don't want it to get up in the morning. I want to sleep. I don't want to chant. I don't know what I will do if that age it will come to me. Such a beautiful class, Mataji. Many, many points. Thank you so much. And
you,
especially the beginning that you do with the music, it's so attractive. Haribol, it means it soothes to my heart, and something you are not in your home, you're in some other place. It is so nice, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, now devotees can unmute themselves and ask the questions and realize.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Wonderful, wonderful class, Mataji. The way you started with the slides of Srila Prabhupada, those are very beautiful. Background music of Samsara Davanala. Very, very attractive, Mataji. And starting to ending, all the slides and the way you narrate the summarization of this chapter is very, very attractive, Mataji. It's very heart-touching. Thank you so much for all your efforts, Mataji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So everyone can go ahead with their realizations for Mataji's summary session.
Hare Krishna, Sri Nama Radha Mataji. What a beautiful summary. The slides were so good. The pictures and the lessons that you told at the end of each event was very nice. Like how he's when he's trying to mop the floor, he himself is trying to do that and showing us an example, and how he was very assertive. So because of this, he was able to preach and to so many and establish this movement so nicely. So really, those were real gems from your realization. Thank you so much, and I request you to please come again and again and give us your association. Haribol.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for the opportunity.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Go ahead, beta. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I can go. I'll ask later. No problem.
You go ahead, beta.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for us to know about all these things, like the pictures that you showed, the informations about Swami Prabhupada, and the summarization especially, and telling how you can get up. If he can get up in the morning, how can others, like everybody in young age? The problem that I face is the same thing, getting up in the morning. The reason is because I used to get up early in the morning at 4 o'clock, but now I'm attending every day the job at 5 o'clock. But the only thing is that sometimes your eyes get burning sensations. The reason is because I finish my online class at 10:30 in the night. By the time I go to bed, it is already 11:30. After finishing all the kitchen chores and everything, because I always keep the kitchen clean in the night, not for the morning. So morning getting up is, nowadays I'm getting up for the job, but only problem is that my eyes gets burning sensations and I feel like, headache, small changes in the body, probably because 4 hours. So I don't know how to like it's normal, it'll be okay after a few days, because the core intention from inside the heart is I have to get up. I cannot let the soul get defeated this time with the bodily materialistic problems or sufferings. I have to give an end to this. So I cannot let my soul get defeated. That is the only thing coming into my mind if I don't get up in the morning. I keep the alarm, and the phone is very beside me, just sleeping. Also, I think I have to get up in the morning. I cannot let the soul get defeated. So it's happening, but only thing is that the body gets some reactions, like maybe headache, or like nausea feeling, or maybe eyes are burning. So by his grace, it should be okay. That's what I feel like. By the due time, it should be okay. That's the main thing. So just wanted your advice or something you can tell me, Mataji, that
I was just reading last week about how Srila Prabhupada told his disciples how to prioritize. So number one, he wrote on the list of priorities was health. Second was personal sadhana. So if you feel that your body is getting affected, then each body is different. And I think that, as Prabhupada said, of course, that first is health. So first we have to take care of our health. And if body and health permits, then because if we don't have health, then we cannot even do personal sadhana. So first, Prabhupada said, take care of your health and then personal sadhana. So depending on how your body reacts is what I think you have to prioritize, Mataji. But there are other senior devotees, if they want to add, please, I request them to do so.
Hare Krishna, HG Sri Nama Radha, Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Gopinath ki Jai. As usual, Mataji, you are preparing lots, Mataji, even for from last almost 11 months. I know you, Mataji. I know that first class is very hard for me. That they all are they all are explaining in a deep devotional association in English, and it's a hi-fi English. So how can I stay with you? But somehow, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, and your determination is so strong. You prepare now small, not 1, 2, 3, but 26 slides for Sisi Bhagavad Gita, and so deeply you explain Sisi Bhagavad Gita. And today you prove that Srila Prabhupada Lilamrta also you make a so nice presentation, Mataji. And yes, Mataji, the determination of Srila Prabhupada and get up early in the morning and for Mangala Aarti in this Kali Yuga, it is difficult for us to do Mangala Aarti at 4:30, Mataji, but at least we try to get up. Now I get up by 5:15, but that is not good. I will again try to get up 4:30, Mataji, because sometimes health is not supporting, but we cannot excuse by the health. Yes, Mataji, doctor said today only I came from the doctor office that she's a DOT. She said that this body is a temple, so we have to take care of this body. If we are not take care of this body, how can we will do our sadhana and our seva? So yes, Mataji, for that I have to go bed by 9:30. Then only I get up by 4:30, Mataji. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam to your sincere seva. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Gopinath ki Jai. And last the Pandal 15 days program in Mumbai, Mataji, that is touched to heart that Srila Prabhupada and while Saraswati is doing Kirtan and everybody is doing Kirtan, Mataji, and the news is came in Times of India and press reporters came and everybody, police and everybody is dancing. So this is the potency of Mahatma. They are not, Srila Prabhupada is not ordinary personality. He is a Manjaris. So that whatever he teaches, first they follow and then they that's why it's वो पहले खुद follow करते हैं and then they explain to all of us, Mataji. And Sashinam Mataji, you are so sincerely taking Sisi's Bhagavad Gita class also. For that also, Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. Please give your association in a Shishi Chaitanya Bhagavat, Shishi Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada Amruta. Please, Mataji, you are so sincere Vaishnavi. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam, dear respected HG Sri Nama Mataji, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Gopinath ki Jai. You put your all efforts, whether it's Sisi Bhagavad Gita class or Srila Prabhupada Amruta class or Sisi Bhagavatam class. Even you are taking class in your home also. Taking care of all the Vaishnava, it is not easy, Mataji. Hari Hari Gauranga. I learned so many lessons from you. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
And yes, Mataji, PPT is very nice today and all the explanation is also touched to heart, Mataji. Please come regularly in Bhakti Sangha group. Hari Hari Gauranga Dandavat.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Would anybody like to share their realizations with Mataji? Or else, with Mataji's permission and all
Mataji, we will stop here the live, and then Mataji will play that record, that YouTube video.